She's
Do 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 do.
Ed Renfrew for Delos again. If there's anyone who doesn't know what Delos is, well, as we've always said, Delos is the vacation of the future today. Let's talk to some of the people who've been there. Pardon me, sir. What is your name?
Gardner Lewis. Just got back from Westworld. World is the same thing.
I had to trim this up, but it went through copyright okay.
I shot
We'll
six
see.
people. Well,
Then I
they
trimmed
weren't
up this other
real
thing coming
people.
up, and
Well,
so
they
far
may
it's
have been
good. And it's a minute
robots.
long, so
I
far.
think they were robots.
Why
It'll
don't
get
you make
clipped later if it
arrangements to
doesn't
take our hovercraft
hold.
to medieval world, Roman world, and Westworld?
Oh,
What
this
did
is
you
cold.
expect?
Forgot about
Welcome,
this.
Sonny. Make yourself at home. Marry my daughter. You've got to remember that these are just simple farmers. These are people of the land. The common clay of the New West. You know. Morons.
Boy, do I have a surprise for you.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Ed
think
Renfrew
it's
for
started
Delos again.
over.
If there's anyone who doesn't know what Delos is, well,
If I
as
haven't
we've
seen it
always
before,
said,
it's new to
Delos
me.
is the vacation of the future today. Let's talk to some of the people who've
Did
been
it
there.
really?
Pardon me, sir. What is your name?
All right.
Gar-
Wow. There we go. How you guys doing? What's going on out there? I don't know what's happening. I thought we were having a good time. We were talking, and we love talking backstage now with Evie Mux. That's actually probably one of the best features so far. So hopefully all of you out there are having a good time. Man, I got to be honest, guys. This has been one of the best weeks in a long, long time because I forgot how much fun I enjoy watching this movie. Holy cow. And it took me down like the sort of like that 70s sci-fi, the precursor to Star Wars, like this era. And I didn't watch a lot, but it kind of like made me go. I went from this to its sequel. I was kind of watching Andromeda Strain, but I realized I got to pay more attention, so I got to rewatch Andromeda Strain. But I was like down that rabbit hole a little bit of all this stuff. That's these groundbreaking things, and it's because of Westworld, man. It got me there. So, yeah. But everybody, I hope you out there you're going well. Ironcaster, my brother, what is going on with you?
It is actually turned out to be a nice warmer day out. I actually didn't have to wear the big old winter like trench coat just to get out my front door today. So, on the all in all, we're doing pretty good.
All right. So, how was the antifreeze? It didn't have to come out? We're good with no.
No, I'll save it for an after. I'll save it for an after dinner dessert.
All right. All right. Stuff to show off always. There you go. Vinyl, of course. That's from the TV show, though, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which has one of the most banging soundtracks of a TV show for that first season. Second season, not so much. Third season and fourth season. But yeah.
I really like the way they took a lot of like kind of classic metal, classic
Black
rock.
Hole Sun. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Fade to Black. They did
That
the
was the
same
one.
thing in season 2. They did a lot of different music. Heart-Shaped Box from Nirvana. A lot of really good music. They put in like piano form or Japanese or whatever they did, orchestras. And oh, yeah.
All right. Well, I'll have to go down that rabbit hole. I actually started rewatching season 1. I think I only watched the first 2 seasons. I don't remember where I derailed and jumped out because I know it just turned really bad quickly. But
That was season 2. It pretty much went to shit in season 2.
okay. So, but I started
stayed
watching the
there.
first couple episodes, but I've only watched this a little bit. But I was able to find this gem of fun. There's a significantly larger version of this clip, and I will put the link in the description probably tomorrow. It's Funny or Die. And this is just a little tease.
Rolling, 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 right.
That's enough.
Roll.
Mitchie the kid. Haven't seen you in here for quite some time.
This place has less privacy than Trump Tower. Today was like any other day. I woke up, herded some cows. Phil took an hour to pee, and, same old, just living a life.
Do I set it to channel 3 and then press record?
Doesn't matter what channel you're on.
And then you put the tape in.
The tape is already in, you moron!
Are we in detention?
I don't know where the hell we are. Last thing I remember is I was riding on the plains with Curly, and he was trying to teach me the secret to life.
Seriously, what was it? What was the one thing?
Obviously, the core friendship parameters need to be realigned.
What is the one thing? The one thing is this.
Freeze all motor functions.
You shot me!
I found it hysterical. It's like 7 minutes of this stuff, and it just keeps going. And I have to be honest, I know it'll probably have to be clipped, folks. So if you're watching live, you got it. It'll probably have to be snipped out because of YouTube shenanigans. But you know what? It was fun the first time, and that's what we're here for, folks. So hopefully you're having a good time. Snorty's out there. Hail to you, brother. The great polar bear is kicking in the door. Great to see you, my friend. I was able to do that YouTube pop membership thing that let us do. So AJ, Cam, Paul, Tammy, and the Ginger Ninja getting hooked up there. So make sure you check out those early access on some videos and connect with me on some exclusive stuff as well. So Stephen Ransom is out there. Great to see him. FKHC, awesome. Hail to you. Hail to you. Let me see here. Let's go through some folks. Make sure I got everybody. DJ Ronnie G here for the upgrades. Oh. All right, know about that. A man in an Austrian accent said he could help. Oh, well, there we go. Let's see.
Well, he left, but he'll be back.
He'll be back. Claude is here. Great to see you, my friend. Okay, yes. Sasha Fred says the perfect theme park exists only in one subconscious. Yeah, I mean, Michael Crichton was really quite a mind in obsessing over what our theme park futures would look like, right, guys? I mean, there's 2 or 3 of these definitely part of it. But man, what a genius! So,
Pops, did you see the Back to the Future trailer with the Terminator?
It's been a long time ago, but yes, it's been a long time I've seen that one. Yeah. I by the way, coincidentally, on our mashup conversations, I was going through some of our short clips, and I ran across our conversation. I want to figure out how to add more clips to it. It was us in fan joy of a RoboCop / Crow mashup, and it was the scene of what if RoboCop walked in, and then who is the person who did this, and you have the image of the crow, and he's doing the shh, and we're like, and you're laughing your butt off, and I made me laugh, and then we're just So that was yeah, we're nerds. What do you want from us, folks? What do you guys want from us?
Passion.
All right. Yes, it's a lot of passion. So everybody saying hello to everyone else. It's great to see everybody. Thank you so much. SQUEEKA giving out 5. SQUEEKA couldn't be with us tonight. Hugs and kisses for the Squeaks. Thank you, lady, for doing that so much. You're so generous. Let's see. Freddie Baxter was given one. King Advisors, Rami, War Monkey, and June Hart. So thank you, SQUEEKA, so much. Appreciate it.
I'll give SQUEEKA a shout out.
Yeah, gotta love for the Squeaks. So good. Miss y'all. Yeah, miss you. Hang in there. Always rooting for things to go well for everybody. So let's see. The videos are fun. Yes, I know the videos are fun. The film has some interesting ideas. I know. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff indeed. So, all right. Man, oh man. First time seeing this locally. Do you remember?
It would have been when I was a kid because my dad was a huge Yul Brynner fan. So it was at the time, it's another Pops movie, boring. I'll go do something else. But eventually, he had it on one day, and I sat down and I actually watched it with him, and I was like, dude, this is a kick-ass movie. Yul Brynner is like the OG Terminator. Absolutely awesome. If Arnold was like, I watched Westworld and then I thought Terminator, I'll be back. Yeah. And I totally believe that.
Yep.
I would totally believe he got the walk and the cadence and everything from Yul Brynner in this movie.
Yeah, it's really, really fantastic. How about you, Ironcaster? Where you came down on your Westworld experience?
This is a movie that I've seen like once or twice before, and this was a few years before the TV show of the same name had come out. I think as I'm kind of flipping through it, I believe I had first come across it in my copy of 1,000 Movies to See Before You Die, as
Oh.
sort of this little interesting little quirky movie that I had to go ahead and check out. My copy is probably about a good 10, 15 years out of date, but this is still a great little book I've always been turning to for classic films. This is one of the more pivotal things for my sort of cinema education that I've gone and picked up. But Westworld is just kind of this fun idea, taking the Wild West and putting in little elements of sci-fi, not in an overwhelming way where like people running around with like space lasers or anything like that. It's more thought provoking.
Yeah, indeed. Way ahead of its time.
$1,000 a day. Who would have ever imagined that one day we'd be at?
$1,000.
Oh yeah, Disney. Right. Yeah,
Yep.
Disney World.
Yep.
Yeah, about $1,000 a day. That makes sense.
I have to be honest. I really love the intro, the little faux commercial that I kind of stole some pieces from. Everybody coming back. I wish I was in the room with Loki whenever the little lady is talking about, what did you like the most? The men. I feel so warm and fuzzy right now. I feel really good about things, and y'all should go because I don't know the men. Like I was like, oh my gosh, I wish I was in the room every time this scene is transpiring because
I went to Roman World of the men. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Man. We know
That's
what's
great,
happening
Grandma.
around the world.
The world's first like cyber only on or OnlyFans.
Yeah,
that went to Roman World and videotaped the whole thing on her phone.
It was really, really fun and amusing to sort of relive the experience a little bit, and then kind of having these sort of like the cheesier elements of the film were actually in the beginning, like the ride there and some of the visuals. I think were fine, but they're sort of some of the weaker elements of the film compared to some of the great stuff they were able to accomplish a little bit later on. So.
True, but at the same time, I also kind of enjoyed it for that. There's a sort of cheesiness element to it that really kind of endears the film to me, where it's sort of this kind of look back to the past of how these sorts of environments would have been set up, the kind of the sterility. There's almost a character to that in and of itself that you just don't see today. It's a different type of sterile.
So true. That's so true. Yeah. Undead Ram has got a great comment. It says the world needs another Yul Brynner, but there will never be another. He was the king of Siam, indeed. Yeah, we are down the Yul Brynner rabbit hole a little bit. Again, I keep derailing myself with all the things that I want to watch because each piece of these things kind of make me want to go and check something else out. And it does not get old. And I have to be honest, he is just so comfortable being this guy. And it's just a fantastic role for him. Legendary, and totally derails what Michael Crichton wanted to get out of this film. Like, did you guys read like what he was really disappointed with what everybody's takeaway was from this film? He wanted to be sort of like an anti-money commercialism type thing, where that wasn't what anybody got out of this movie, like at all. Yeah. He was very disappointed. He was, I guess, trying to have commentary on profiting. I don't know. But
he did the same thing with Jurassic Park. He did the exact same thing.
Yeah.
This time they'll understand my passion, and this time I'll do it with dinosaurs.
We'll have a coupon day.
Yeah. Yeah. But see, the thing about Crichton is he's so far ahead of that timeline. Like for us, it just, I don't know. It's just weird because when you think about this, it's like he didn't even write this as a novel because he was like, there's no way I could do it. It's just too visual. It had to be done with visual. So like he made all this money by doing a drama to strain. And this what he got okay, well, you can direct your own then. And it was crazy. It got Brynner involved. It was totally greenlit then. So who thinks about Rome all the time? I think these men are with me that we probably think about Rome once a day or at least once every couple of days for sure. I've been down to 300 too. So does spend multiple times a day lately. So some sort of conversation of Sparta / Rome in my head. So Let's see. The 70s never thought video games would trump entertainment robots. Yeah, well, the entertainment robots really aren't here quite yet, Steven, but yeah, they definitely were thinking well past video games. Yeah, so it is written, so it will be done, indeed. Yes.
Well, look at, okay, you bring up Rome. Look at the Colosseum and look what people were doing at the time. They got all their aggression and all of that out at the games. And then when they went back to their normal lives. Now imagine, even if you had to pay $1,000 a day, which would be much more now, imagine if you could go somewhere and just raise as much hell and chaos as you wanted and not get in trouble for it. You could do all these things. You've always imagined you've got all these different power positions you could basically be in, whether it's a king in medieval world or whether it is the emperor in Roman world or whether it's the sheriff, the mysterious stranger in Westworld or Shogun world, whatever it is. You can go and just do whatever you want and you don't have to worry about any consequences. People would pay out the ass for that, to be able to do whatever they want, whenever they want, without any consequences.
Yeah,
so we get
that's the fascinating idea, is that it's a world where there is effectively no morality, where you're free to let all your inhibitions go. The only thing that brushes up against that is, one, the time limit. How fat is your wallet to be able to afford this? And is that other person another visitor to the park? Aside from that, you could go be the dirtiest, no-down, villain there is.
Or the hero, if that's what you're into. If you want to be a white hat, you can be a white hat. If you want to be a black hat, you can be a black hat. But just realize, in this and in the series later, one of the things it kind of shows you is there is no real in-between. You are either a bad guy or you are a white hat. Black hat, white hat. There is no, in-between anything like that. You're a good person or you're a bad person.
So let me ask you a question, because we're really not too far away from robots of some persuasion coming. This can't be that far off from in our future. Some sort of version of a Westworld type Imagineering type land. Maybe not with the levels of violence and, we'll say, physical intimacy, but at least the immersion of visit Rome land, visit some sort of historical Egypt, visit these types of things with these things that are there. You buy these robots one time and you're there. They have service simulation. It's like it. I think Steven said it right. It's Disney Imagineering on steroids, right?
Yep.
So, okay, that has to be coming, right? Within the next, 10, 20 years? I mean, these things are coming really, really fast. So what do you think, Ironcaster? Am I totally crazy with that?
Yeah, you're really not all that far off, though maybe not quite to the same extent as we saw with this. You're starting to see, for example, brothels coming up where people are looking to create the robots that can do these things, but then you also take and look at the advancements with AI and services like Grok. There are ways we can go and communicate and talk with a little chatbot. Now it's only a matter of time until we start seeing the blending of all these technologies come together to where you're going to be able to see people go ahead and simulate this sort of relationship.
Yeah, I mean, I think the idea that you could have a weekend in the Old West, Loki, and you could sit down and have a little house on the prairie type experience doesn't seem far-fetched at all.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
They just got to make sure it's safe. Once they make sure it's safe, it's all they really need to do.
Yeah, I agree.
The one thing I kept thinking about while I was watching this was, our main two characters are basically Fonzie and Nick Fuentes.
Fonzie and Nick Fuentes. Okay.
It's just in the face, and I kept thinking about wait a minute, I've seen these two before.
Okay, I see what you're saying. You're giving James Brolin the Fonzie role, and Richard, is it Richard Hamilton? Richard? Yeah,
I think so. I think it's Hamilton.
And okay, I mean a little bit. Definitely for their time. James Brolin was definitely Mr. Suave and cool, and yeah, it's good. Really good stuff.
Yeah, but I mean it's this fascinating kind of pairing up with these two guys where we've got our James Brolin is this kind of cool, suave, kind of laid back. Like he's been there, he's done that all. He's not even gonna bother watching the little diorama about the park. He's been here before, and he's here just to kind of show the guy, look, here's how you can go, kind of come in and let loose and forget all about that relationship of yours.
Yep. Yeah, super, super cool. And of course, it leads to just great moments, great imagery. I mean, I really loved just some of these shots of stuff early on in the film. And
Oh, he's got the chin for being that like wild western protagonist.
yeah, he
Like
looks like a
chomping
character.
cigar.
He looks like he could pull off a Magnificent Seven type role, right? He's a little, it's a few years off from that, but I mean, he at least looks the part, right, Loki? I mean, we feel like he's got that sort of charisma.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And he's living that wild west lifestyle. So I don't know. I couldn't go into it like that. I'm going to want to be somebody. Either give me a black hat and let me run around with like the Loki gang and terrorize villagers and basically be the bad guys in Magnificent Seven, or I will grab a Winchester lever action 30-30, put on a brown hat, and I will be the mysterious stranger that wanders into town and takes out all the bad guys because I'm getting paid. Sheriff, pay me Mooney. I will take out the bad guys. I don't know. I'd go in with some kind of plan.
I think that's where that they don't always communicate what the story narratives are, because that part hasn't aged as well as other elements in this film. And it's like, for us, because we've already had elements of virtual reality and video games, and escapism is kind of like, I think Steven said this, right? It all jumped way past the fact that there would be robots and Disney Imagineering and things of that nature, and the fact that they can, in theory, roll this out within the next few years. I definitely could see this coming with some way, shape, or form. And I don't know. Undead Ramen brings up a good question, because obviously what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, kind of thing. It's like what happens in Westworld stays in Westworld, but then you got to come home. And this really happens a lot with the Dick Van Patten character in in a way, like that character, you can tell, like just totally in over his head kind of stuff. Yeah, and Future World kind of picks up these pieces and runs with it, because it's the same kind of thing, the same conundrum. Like what happens in their little fantasy world, just consequences at home, for sure. Yeah, they clean it out. I know, Steve Ransom. It's definitely one of the questions for sure. So, when the Pirates of the Caribbean breaks down, they don't eat the tourists. I know. But in Westworld, when they break down, it's in fact he stalks.
They shoot the tourists.
Yeah. Undead Ramen was clearing for Loki in the first movie. Yeah. Red Dead Redemption in real life. Fair enough. Yeah, that's a fair assessment.
Sure. Why wouldn't you cheer for Loki in that first movie? He was absolutely wrong.
I love the Dick Van Patten, sort of like the uber nerd of that time, of trying to be the sheriff and pulling the trigger.
He's this great little side character who just you already know his story coming into it. Like he's a kid who grew up always playing cowboys and Indians, and this is his chance to go out and kind of live that life. So of course he's gonna go and make the most of this. He's gonna go be this big hero and get to be and we eventually do see him. He gets to go be the sheriff and be the person that everyone's gonna turn to in their time of need. This is basically Ralphie's character grown up.
Boring.
Yeah.
He chose poorly.
But I mean, he's trying to come out of his shell and be more than the accountant or the Uber bookkeeping nerd or the store grocer that he is at home. And I think that's well represented in this film for people to connect to. And I think that's where the show, I'm only a few episodes in season 1 on the rewatch. I don't want to speak about the whole stuff because I don't remember all the details, but they didn't really have characters that you connected to. They didn't have a way to immerse yourself or see yourself through the characters the way this did. This was immediate. Like you're seeing yourself as different characters. You're doing that. What would I do if I was in these predicaments, or who would I choose? Like Loki said earlier, am I going to be, black hat, white hat, whatever? And, Then you have the consequences that come later, which I think is where the show does great, right? The show does good of hitting you right out of the gate of asking that question about, do you want things to be more real? Because there's PTSD of shooting people and, I mean, it's sleeping with people. And this is all in theory, there's a lot of baggage that's going to come with all this, right?
Oh yeah. But I mean, it's like he says at the beginning of the movie, it's not real. They're not real. When he's like, is she one of them? He's like, probably. Hell, I don't know. I mean, it's just, you assume everyone that's working there is a robot, besides the people that are behind the curtain. So would it really affect you? Could you go home with a clear conscience? There's obviously people in the TV series that absolutely can go home with a clear conscience and not worry about it, because they have trained themselves to go, none of this is real. I can live out whatever perverse desire I want, and no one's ever going to tattle on me.
Yeah, I love all of this sort of behind the scenes stuff from the head engineers, as well as sort of like the on the ground repair scenes. I thought all of this was just brilliant, especially ahead of its time. What do you think, Ironcaster?
Oh, I thought it was great getting to see this literally behind the scenes, where you're starting to see how everything's slowly starting to fall apart, and how the rate at which everything's falling apart is only getting worse, and in how this is effectively the origin of the idea of the computer virus, which kind of came out of this.
And everybody had to buy those ashtrays back in the day, because everyone's mom had an ashtray just like the one on that table back in the day.
That's true.
Oh yeah,
that big crystal ashtray.
I remember my grandparents had one that it was almost like a gold color. It was like a clear yellowish looking, but exactly the same ashtray. So this just was colored, but just, I mean, the set design, the details, as Michael Crichton said, he had to have this in film, and it couldn't just be a book. It had to be more than that because of how visual it is. So Fred's recommending Crichton's film Coma. I have not seen that. It dives into the themes of conspiracy. Either of you seen Coma? I'm not really up to date on that one for sure.
I don't think I have.
No.
Yeah. Cowboy is looking for the mirror. Feels like inspiration. A taxi driver. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, his extrapolations are almost proof of time travel. Maybe Michael Crichton was definitely ahead of his time. Yeah, Data's favorite movie. Yeah, a brown gold ashtray. Yeah, did you run it? You had the same ones. Families all shopped at the same places.
Yep,
sure.
They had to have the same ashtray, the same couch, the same pitcher.
Yeah.
Oh, and the little leather cases that went over the cigarettes that you like had to pop open on top. Yeah. All the women had those little like cigarette purses that had the lighter stuck in it, and had the cigarette pack in the little leather pouch.
Yeah.
I did find it kind of interesting that they decided to opt to have even the snake is supposed to be mechanical. That they could have just left it at, well, a wild animal, snuck into the park, because you're not gonna be able to control for every single bit of nature, especially at a place this big.
But you're in the future. You're in the future, so there's got to be ways to keep out the animals and only have the animals they want. Because you don't want to guess getting bit by a snake or any stupid crap like that.
Yeah, because they're in like a Truman Show dome, right? They're in some sort of contained entity, so there wouldn't be a snake. And I think the snake also is a little bit of that progression of the threat, right? It was just a snake. He didn't die from it, right? It's not actually a rattlesnake that had venom that was going to kill him. That was never even brought up. It was the fact that there was a snake bite. And then it's like, well, why would a snake even bite? So I think this is what you said earlier, Ironcaster, the computer virus and the threat continuing to increase as the film kind of keeps going. Yeah, it's good. It's great.
I do love seeing this opening up of the robots, getting to see just the choice pieces of electronics they pulled out of Radio Shack or out of a radio to make the shot work, and just how you have all these little tubes and nodules and like a little bit of metal that's wired out to look like it would fit the mouth, all to be able to simulate this. Uh, what the '70s thought like advanced technology would be.
That is one of the things that I think they messed up on in the series. Yes, you do get to see a couple of like the first gen prototypes that were mechanical. They replaced that with this like mix of biology and technology where basically they're like chipped. It's a human being that's grown in a vat and then they chip their brain
Yeah.
and they control them like that, which I absolutely hate. Keep
Yeah, I
them
will say,
robots.
yeah, coming from this and into the TV show, like, because I didn't watch this after when I watched the TV show. I just heard it was good, so I watched a couple episodes. Made it through at least one season, probably into season 2 or whatever. But in hindsight, watching this now, kind of in this progression, before I watched Westworld, then I watched Future World, and I watched other Crichton stuff before I did the first couple episodes of the show. It's really clear they were going for, how smart they are, spiritual consciousness, sentient conversations, things of that nature, rather than the cool tech robots that were done in the 70s, for sure, 100%. And the show suffers for that reason, in my opinion, right out of the gate.
I always had it in my mind that they were just 3D printing them, just partially because of the opening credits to the show.
Interesting. I have to be honest, I really love that we had our groundbreaking technology in this movie. I had to look up like the timeline of special effects in CGI because I was not 100% certain, because there's been so many different types of layers, and we've talked about many of those here on the show, from Wrath of Khan to others, right? And it's like, oh wait, so this is one where they like, it's the first film to do this type of take the image, then they repixel the whole thing by hand, basically. And it's just brilliantly done. It's just really, the end effect is really, really cool.
Oh, it's such a great little leap and bound in technology that this is, in fact, where we get some of the first computer special effects to be put into a film. And especially from that perspective of appreciating the advancements of the art and craft of movies, Westworld is a movie that absolutely deserves to be held up for that reason alone, ultimately. If I mean, outside of the fact that this is a good movie, the technological leaps and bounds that this movie was able to accomplish are up there a lot with the likes of how we were able to get the Invisible Man effect.
Yeah, I mean, it's on that timeline where you just see so many things moving along very quickly. As far as this is still years before Tron. Still years. This is only it's a couple years before Star Wars. And actually, between this and Future World, there's a major jump, because Future World, I think, is a spoiler alert. My reviews on my channel later this week. It's pretty bland and not a real fun watch, but the technology stuff is really, really cool. Like, seeing the tech of what they try to do was really pretty cool. Yeah.
And they tried to sell it like Yul Brynner was coming back.
Yeah.
And he never really.
No, he's in a makeout scene. He's not even in the movie. It's a makeout scene.
That was like the only reason why I watched Future World. Because Yul Brynner was in it. Okay, well, I'll watch Future World. And then I was like, what the hell did I just watch? It's got like Henry Fonda and dumbasses in it.
Oh, it was rough. Did you know the movie was first mentioned? I didn't catch that. Did they use the term computer virus? I know they something like spread like a virus, but I didn't think they actually said the term computer virus. But it could have been.
I don't remember the word computer virus, but the way they were talking about the way the problem spread was sounded
conceptually,
just like,
for sure. Right.
Yes.
Steven sent me an image. I'll have to track that down here in a minute. All right.
Someone screws it up for everybody. That's not the only time that something like that has happened, because I remember there was what was that show called where basically you had all these androids that went crazy and they rebelled all because their programmer one of the programmers who wasn't even like a creator. He was just someone that worked for the company. Was like, hey, you know what? I'm going to add the directive. Take a chance. And because he added that one directive to all the damn robots, they rebelled and started killing everybody. It's like brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Skynet. I mean, we've been obsessed with AI taking over the world and killing everybody for like 50 years now.
Yep. Very, very true. All right, let me share what Steven shared, and we'll pop that up here real quick. And yeah, I mean, we're getting there, man. It's this robot thing. Let me try to change the layer. It's not letting me change the layer. All right, let's just stop that.
It looks like the prototype for the engineers from Prometheus.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
There you go.
So is this, Stephen, what is this from? Is this some one of the new AI robots? It's skeletal infrastructure? Because I know that the Helix dropped this week, and I haven't watched the video yet. I want to send it to Loki. I forgot to do that. Helix dropped their new video on, I think it's called Figure. So it's one of the competitor, the 3 or 4 ones that are big. Mrs. Pops told me there's one in China they debuted and they started attacking somebody. So I don't know what is happening, but yeah. I don't think I'm going to look to China to be my voice of reason when it comes to AI tech. That's for darn freaking sure.
No, thank you.
Yeah. No. So yeah, we are not going to be doing that anytime soon. So.
You know, one of the things that really surprised me when I was doing a little bit of research was finding out this movie costs less than $2 million to make.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah. Yeah, there was
the town was already built, so they used that one town out in the middle of Southern California that they film almost all the ranch and ghost town, Western stuff that they always do. I think they filmed Westworld there too, the series. Same exact place. That's why they laugh about like digging up the old town and all that. In the series, it's one like the little we gotcha. But it couldn't have cost that much because you've just got we've got film, we've got crew, we've got some special effects here and there, but most of it's just stuff they do in westerns, the blood packs and all that stuff. It couldn't have been that much.
Yeah, a lot was filmed on the MGM backlots, other areas in California, Utah, Singapore, and the Mojave Desert. But I got to be honest too, the thing that's different about this era, at least what I've been reading, especially over the last few, I guess it's probably been over a week now because of Andromeda Strain as well. A lot of the scenes that we see in these movies, people wanted to get it done for the sake of getting it done, getting their name out there, getting the company out there. So I don't think it wasn't like the bill was running up like it is today with all this CGI cost now, visual effects people. Back then they were trying to be the innovator so they could say they were the innovator, if that makes sense.
Well, heck, even now, it's not about that anymore. It's about getting that tax refund. Hey, we can spend $400 million on a movie, get $200 million back. So why not? Why wouldn't you go full out catering, go, pay whatever, pay $20 a nail for that set. It's okay. We'll make it back because we're going to get half the money we invest in this movie back on a tax cuts anyway.
Right. So. I think the movie too, I want to go back to just Yul Brynner because there's just so many great moments where he is just the beast. And this is what everybody remembered. Everyone came away from Crichton's movie talking about the Gunslinger. It's immortalized for this reason. It was among the top 10 sort of like villains and sci-fi stuff and things like that for so long because it was such an iconic thing. Again, it predates Star Wars and what have you. So everything changes within the next 5 years, but may not have if it wasn't for this film. So for sure.
Well, beyond that, he's also become so influential on so many other villains. I mean, you look at him and you can't help but see sort of the prototype for the slashers we would get, like less than 10 years later when we started getting your silent killers from Jason Voorhees, from
Well,
Michael Myers.
Yeah, he was the inspiration for Michael Myers for sure. Yeah, Carpenter mentions his by name for sure. Good call, Ironcaster. That's true. This goes back to what we were saying earlier too. And Ron was talking about how we end up with Megan, right? The AI Chucky doll killer movie. Yeah, good point. I know that image was weird, Snorty. It was
weird.
Yeah, very, very weird. Did you guys figure out how did they say? I didn't look it up. I was just curious. Did they say how they did the eyes?
I just assumed they had a pair of lights to shine on them, or that, or contacts.
Did they have contacts back then?
I know they had contacts, but I wouldn't think he'd wear contacts. I mean, it's Yul Brynner, bro. He's not wearing freaking contacts for your movie. I think you're right, Ironcatcher. They had certain kinds of lights or something, but Yul Brynner's probably not wearing contacts for your movie, man. He's at the end of his line, man. He's not a young kid anymore. He's not doing that. But what movie did we talk about? They had like crazy contacts that damaged the dude's eyes and took him like 6 months to heal. Something.
There were several minor injuries during filming. During a shootout scene, a piece of wadding from a blank cartridge stuck Yul Brynner in the eye, scratching his cornea, leaving him unable to wear the light-reflecting contacts without his injured eye turning red.
I stand corrected. You guys are right. I am so sorry.
Fact check.
I would not have seen that coming. I would have thought he would have been, no, I'm not wearing your freaking contacts. But he was all in, man. Yul Brynner's a boss, man. Good job. That was fast, Ironcatcher. Look at you go. Look at you go. Oh, these scenes are so good. Again, I think it's similar to what you said earlier about the Dick Van Patten, though, Loki. It's like he wants to be the cool guy, but he's not the cool guy and doesn't know what to do. And it works, I think, better for the story that he's just the nervous, shaky gun and has no idea what he's doing compared to like if James Brolin's character had been the one that survived.
Yeah.
It'd be more like a showdown, right? Yeah.
I was really surprised. That's one of the things that kind of like surprised me the first time I remember watching this was they took out the cool guy and they left the like nerdy, helpless wimp behind. And I'm like, what is going on? And then you see what he does and you're like, well, it's kind of like it's a growth story. He's growing from this. Oh yeah, I let my wife walk all over me because of the kids and yada yada yada, and I haven't, even kissed a woman since I got divorced 6 months ago. I'm not gonna put up with shit. I'll fight.
I had a very similar thought the first time I'd seen this, where I was genuinely shocked to see that James Brolin's character had been the one who didn't make it. I was convinced that he was going to be the badass, who was going to be making it out by the end, and that was one of those things that really stuck with me. Seeing now this guy who's almost reluctant to come along and do this whole thing in the first place is now the one who's getting chased down by this stone cold robot who's quicker than him, who's going to be able to track him wherever he goes, no matter what he does now. This thing can find him. It could track the disturbances in the ground from his very footsteps. So there's no escaping it. He can't just hide behind a corner on it.
Next Ironcaster is going to be like, he's using the trees.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was. I don't know why I forgot some of the elements at the end, but I felt like it was such a great rewatch experience for me. I was really engaged for all this. Like he was figuring out how he could, get around it. But again, they pulled the Jurassic Park thing. Like, don't make a move, man. Stand still. Then it was the heat, versus, but it was, all right. It's good stuff though. Really good stuff. Really good stuff. Let's see. They installed a snake in the stomach. SG1 fans can confirm snake and belly, glowing eyes.
Glowing eyes and totally mean son of a bitch. Yeah, I can attest to that.
All right. It's a coming of age story in a way. Yeah, I suppose. Mustache Boy was very popular indeed. It's kind of come back. Just saying. Look at all of
Are
us.
you talking about the mustache, or are you talking about this guy? Because he was in a bunch of movies back in the 70s, 60s, and the 70s.
Yeah. Yeah, he had a
He
good
was a
run.
well-known.
Yeah, indeed.
What did you guys think of the bar fight, by the way?
Which one? The actual fight, or when he
The silly
shoots?
one
The silly
where
one.
they're drinking and stuff. Yeah.
Where it just goes to show you just the ability to be able to enjoy this moment. There, like I said, with no repercussions, you know, you don't got to pay for any of this. I mean, you've basically already paid for this all, so you might as well go ahead and go nuts and throw a guy through a banister and have your fun.
Oh yeah. Have you ever been in a bar fight, Ironcaster? Like a real bar fight?
No, I can't say I have. The closest I have is I got into a fight at school once, but that was 20 plus years ago.
So everything happens too
I didn't get
fast
asked
to
about
like
it?
Pops. Well, because I asked Ironcaster. I didn't want to. I don't want. You're old. I didn't want to embarrass you.
He invented fist fighting.
As though I haven't got in a bar fight. I didn't get into a major bar fight, but I got into a bar fight.
I'm talking about like pool cues breaking. I mean, like you know,
throwing chairs. Yep.
Throwing chairs,
Yep.
bottles. Yeah, and
but didn't get arrested. So
there
I'm
is
the
no
smart friend
like
in that scheme. But yeah.
there is no one standing there taking a drink and just chilling.
Yeah, no.
You see that in like every movie. That never happens. Everybody is fighting somebody. Everybody is doing their own thing. Sometimes other people get involved in whatever you're doing, but it's chaos and it's chaotic. And there isn't like, oh, well, we'll just have a shot real quick and then get back to it. No, you stop for a shot, you end up getting hit over the back of the head by a chair or pool cue or a bottle or something. So, yeah.
Yeah, once there were bottles breaking, I was done. I'm out. I'm getting stabbed for this shenanigan. That's when I was out. Like throwing stuff around the room was fine. You know what I mean? Like hitting people, but not like smacking them over the face and not trying to kill anyone. So, like I said sort of bar fight.
And you can't stop chairs. You can't stop chairs and bottles and pool cues. So you can still get hurt. You know, if some human wants to hurt you, a human's going to hurt you. So it's one of the things they don't really like.
Hurt.
Yeah. They might not be able to shoot you, but they can beat the holy heck out of you.
Yep. Real bullets. Wheel boys. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Just don't
GTA
touch-
with real
just-
bullets. I love that. I love that idea.
Just don't touch the face or hair. Movie trilogy Disney Channel used to show Not Quite Human. It was about the scientist and his android son. It had Alan Thicke.
Yeah, I remember that.
Kind of sounds familiar, Fred. Yeah.
And there's you've got what's the other one? There's another one that was like a series. Go ahead.
I was just going to circle back to Ironcaster's comment or question about the bar fight. It was kind of the silliest point in the film for me. I'm like I don't remember it being goofy for this long. Like it seemed like there was a very slow build for it to get kind of serious. But it, again, giving you more information on what to go on. It's giving you what would really hurt you, what wouldn't hurt you. Oh, I see when you're drinking alcohol, you're actually going to get drunk. But when they're shooting, you're not going to get killed. But obviously someone hits you with a chair, you're going to get hurt. So I think they're trying to set all that up for you. But yeah, it was a little bit silly and goofy in a way. For sure.
Well, also, you had all this chaos right before everything goes to hell in a handbasket.
Correct.
So they have given you the majority of the movie to get used to this idea that they are safe and nothing bad can happen to them, except for the little, a snake bit somebody. Oh, this little thing happened. Or, oh, he didn't want to do this. Not once have you seen any human android go after somebody and take them out.
Exactly. And that's why I think it does. It is well suited for the film because because everyone there, it feels like there's no danger at all. They are laughing the entire time. They're having this bar fight that, as you guys have pointed out, should rightfully be like, get the heck out of here. I don't want to get caught up in this. No, they're getting hurled around, and the worst they got was a hangover. No, the next morning they stumble out, and they are hung over. Here's the gunslinger back to now. Go ahead and do like the third or fourth attempt on their lives. Like at this point, they're bored of it. They're like, oh, we've already done this. Do we have to try to do this? Here, you take care of him this time. You know, only to then realize, no, things aren't the same now.
Right. Fred, I found it for you. I can't do the share this way. Never mind. Hang on. Go back to this way.
Uh-oh.
Share it this way. Not Quite Human is what it's called. Not Quite Human. Only vaguely seems familiar to me, Fred. But yeah, he's a little android, and here he goes, just walking around. He's running, chasing down the bus. Yeah. Played for a lot of laughs. Yep. There you go. Totally forgot about it. That's why you love you guys in chat. You guys are amazing.
Daryl. That's the other name of the movie. Daryl. The kid with the robotic brain.
Okay. Daryl Hannah movie.
No, not Daryl Hannah. Daryl.
No, isn't it? Wasn't she in one called Daryl or something? All right. Never mind. I got mixed up with something else, but we're fine. It's good. Man, AI stuff's always fun to talk about. Get down this rabbit hole. That's a good one.
Daryl's the one where the kid steals the SR-70 while Blackbird actually knows how to fly it.
All right. Okay, so the bar fight's a setup for grounding of reality to solidify the tension to come.
Yep.
Yeah.
It makes the sudden whiplash all the more effective.
Yeah, Daryl effective.
Yeah, he's an AI. He's the Daryl kid all grown up. He was playing Atari. We know he's a gamer.
Yeah, could be. We'll see. What did we not talk about? Let's see. I think pretty much everything about the cast and stuff is kept small to keep the budget manageable, and I think they did a good enough job with everything they had to work with, and it aged exceedingly well for me. Be perfect.
What about the husband and wife that split off?
Mm-hmm.
He goes to medieval world to have his way with the queen and be a little, rambunctious, while she goes to Roman world to go. The men. Oh my God. Yeah. So they're having separate vacations.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. That was didn't share. Hold on. Go back.
So, which of the three parks would you guys go to?
Oh, Westworld. That'd be the first one I go to. I'd probably go to all of them. I'd definitely go if they had Samurai World. That would be my first choice. Go to Japan, live out the fantasy of being a Ronin and all that fun stuff, or Westworld if that was my choice.
Pops?
Being a knight and all that shit can stay.
Yeah, the medieval stuff, I have to be honest, I really don't have a lot of interest in medieval stuff. The Roman stuff's not sold well. I don't really care about all the lovey-dovey Caligula Roman era nonsense. I would like to go to the Colosseum though and see a freaking gladiator game. I don't care if they're robots or not. I don't know that I want to try to fight a gladiator. I'm going to get myself killed because I'm not stupid enough to realize that I'd be fighting, football player size humans that can just, pummel anything in front of them. But yeah, to see gladiator games or chariot races would be way cooler than all this other nonsense. Westworld would just the idea of visiting the Old West and just living there would actually just be cool. Like, this is the Doc Brown fantasy. I get it. Like, I get the Doc Brown. I want to go back and live as the blacksmith. But it's exceedingly treacherous with disease and gun. I mean, you don't even have to get injured badly and you're going to die of infection. Let's just be honest, right? They just don't have antibiotics. That's actually one of my favorite elements. Ooh, it's a kind of a spoiler. Anyway, if you haven't seen 1888, I guess, or is that what it's called? The Taylor Sheridan one, Cover Your Ears. Because she gets stuck with an arrow, but there's dung on the arrow. So that's what kills her. Is the infection from that. I'm like, yeah, living in these areas would just be treacherous. But to have fun for like a week, pretty cool, man. Gotta be honest. Yeah.
I think by and large, I'm in the same boat with you guys. Like, as much as I would love to probably spend a couple days in any one of those three worlds, you just sadly don't get enough of the other ones to really get a good sense of that. Like, there's no clear indicator that we have even the Colosseums with the little Roman world. Like, I would certainly love to see the gladiator games, to see someone go fight the lions and see the battles reenacted in the Great Colosseum. But there's no, all we really get is like, oh yeah, there's basically just Orgy Island over here.
I don't have any desire for all this nonsense. This isn't me. This isn't what I would be in this for. So that's not it. So
well, that's what a lot of people. I mean,
I know.
that'd be the first thing they're checking out their list. I just got off the bus. I just got off the train to Westworld. Yeah. Where's the brothel?
Yeah, and I assume that's coming soon. I mean, I assume that's if Japan doesn't have it already, they already will. So
I think it's either in Paris or what's the one with weed?
Amsterdam.
Yes, I think it's in one of the two. Just to answer that question from a half hour ago.
Mm-hmm. Gundam World. Now that would be freaking cool. A mech world, like you could do Pacific Rim. You could do something like that, maybe. That would be down
Future
for that.
World. It could be in Future World.
Yeah. Future World was really cool.
You could have like, you're a privateer on your own spaceship, or we've got like a Coliseum with Gundams or whatever. You could do all kinds of stuff in Future World. That would be cool.
Yeah, Steven Ransom, sadly, I mean, that's fine if that's all I have to do to get there, but I'm not interested in I would be bored after an hour or two of that nonsense. But, all right, what are we doing? Are we doing something? I didn't come here to like lay around and I don't care about all
with
that.
A guy with a heart, as a guy with a heart plays
I don't
music.
want all that. I don't. Yeah, no interest in that kind of nonsense. So
it's the Roman baths, Pops. Do you know who's going to be in the Roman baths? I do.
Yeah, chlamydia.
His name's Mike.
That's what.
Mike Roch. He'll be in the Roman baths.
No thanks. The jousting would be cool. I don't think I would. I'm pretty self-aware that I really wouldn't have the enjoyment of the sword fighting, the samurai fighting like you guys would. That wouldn't be my speed as much. But jousting was freaking cool, man. I'd be down for a joust. That'd be cool. The concern is the armor is so heavy. Falling off the horse will kill you. So I'm not sure that that's been resolved in my Roman world experience. So I don't die when I get knocked off the horse by the other robots.
But the first rule, don't.
Yeah, well, you're gonna get hit.
They can't knock you off. So they can't hurt you. So they wouldn't be able to knock you off the damn horse. You could fall off and hurt yourself, but they wouldn't be able to.
I can ride and do that part. So I guess I don't know. There's also that I would want to experience more things that are real. I don't know. It's so rigged against you surviving, I guess.
I don't know. What if they could like magnetize you to the horse so you can't fall off physically?
Well, he's not gonna get
He's
hit.
not gonna knock me off. Loki's right, because it is rigged that you're just experiencing being like a super knight that you can just joust and beat everyone. That's kind of the whole point of the game, the show.
It's a power trip. Just like you get a power trip when you play a video game and you get to be badass and have, infinite life and ammo and all that stuff.
Right.
You get to do one of the coolest things I thought was like in that first season, I think it's the first season, maybe it's the second, I don't know. Homeboy like lights up a cigar and calls it an airstrike. And you're like, how the hell does he? Well, he owns part of the company. So he's like, this is what I want when I do this. Do it. So they know, okay, we need to make this explode and this explode, because he's already got it all planned out how he wants to win the whole damn thing. So they've got to look at it like, well, you're always going to win no matter what you do, because that's your enjoyment and your experience. If you want to go out and pan for gold, you're not going to find crap till probably your last day. Then you might find like a nugget to take home that they planted there because they know where you're going. and you're giving them thousands and thousands of dollars to have this experience. So you're always going to end up a winner, no matter what you do.
Mike, you have to watch Magnificent Seven so we can cure you of the Pharaoh issue there, because Magnificent Seven changes everything. Go ahead, buddy.
Oh, I was gonna say if we are talking about other worlds to possibly put in, then you gotta have some kind of like Warhammer world where you are just like in trench world with like getting ready to like have the big battle and fighting against like tons and tons of little robots with like as you're all shooting guns and it's down to the last stand. You can have that great heroic way that like every guy has kind of thought about being down to the last man.
So the dream would be Batman world, right? I mean, I'm an uber nerd, right? So I mean, the dream is it would be Batman or Superman. Like I've only said that I don't ride a lot of these roller coasters, but I'm ready to go to Six Flags in Georgia just so I can ride the Superman ride, get that Christopher Reeve movie going, and just do it one time. Just fly like Superman. I'm going to close my eyes because I just want to pretend that I'm Superman for the 2 minutes of the freaking roller coaster. So that'd be the dream, right? I could just go to Batman world and be able to pretend that I could be Batman and just live it out that way, knowing that I'm not going to get killed when I swing on a rope and jump off a building. And yeah, am I physically capable of doing most of those things anyway? No, but it would be, yeah.
You have a suit like an Iron Man suit.
Yeah, it would give you something. They would give you something special to help you virtual reality simulators. Saving Private Ryan world would be a little scary, a little freaky, but yeah, in theory. But that's a great example, though, Steve Ransom, of where, because the show drops that line. It's either in episode 1 or episode 2 of season 1, where the guy's like, listen, we need this to be more real because of the PTSD you'd have by shooting and killing people. And I'm like, yeah, because they make it so real. It all sounds like fun and games till it happens. And at least the Richard Hamilton's character has that moment when he shoots Yul Brynner. Like, he's really dead, right? Like, it's like a robot, right? It's not a real human. Because it is truly like, I don't know. If you guys don't believe that experience, shoot an animal for the first time and have what happens in your brain push against you have a whole lot of confliction of your human brain and your animal brain and your instincts and all conflict. And then once you overcome that, you move forward. But that first experience, man, it's a lot. For sure.
Well, then he also has that moment where they're in the room together and he's still kind of traumatized by this. And, there's his roommate there's the other guy telling him, shoot me.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yep. Yeah,
he's desensitizing him to that. He's taking him back out of that to show him like, no, there's no consequences. You just shot a man. Nothing's going to happen to you.
Yeah,
you didn't actually murder.
And by the way, that does showcase that amazing stash this dude had for sure. He is totally rocking the 70s stash. You guys were on point with that for sure.
It's a worm.
It is. Yeah,
of course, nowadays, that's the kind of mustache that only belongs to people who own windowless vans.
Yeah, or sell vans on the side of the road.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, van seats. Sorry, van seats on the side of the road.
Yeah. Roberto Orsai just died. Roberto Orsai passed away. Oh.
See, I would love to do like like what O'Brien and Bashir did in Deep Space Nine when they were on the holodeck and they were like, want to go back to fighting the Jerry's, over the channel, something like that with like Spitfires versus, German fighters and all of that fun. I would love to do something like that. So if they were going to do like a World War II thing, I don't want to be boots on the ground. Do you know how messy that was? Hell no.
Yeah, that's traumatizing.
Put me in a plane and let me do that. I would love that. That'd be great.
Oh man, tank stuff would be pretty cool if you could stay in the tank.
Yeah.
Oh man, tank stuff would be pretty cool. Airplane stuff would be really cool, especially if it's rigged where you're going to survive, right? Because obviously, I mean, you aren't going to get a flyby that's just going to rip through the plane, and you didn't even have a chance to do anything. So yeah, this is.
I would say even getting to be on board a naval ship, getting to fire the big guns.
Yeah, that'd be cool. It would be cool to do astronaut stuff. I think Future World does have a lot of promise of some cool experiences with the Future World concepts and the more of space stuff, and because it's really kind of dismissed in that film. By the way, if you haven't watched Future World, it's on Tubi for free. They put the girl in the pilot seat when they go to like, why is she flying? Like, none of these men want to like have that as their fan. Like, I get to fly the spaceship. No, they just let her just do it. And you're like, I don't know about here. I'd kick her butt out of the seat. I'm riding the freaking rocket, but all right. So, yeah,
Scoot over, lady.
yeah, yeah, here. Yeah, it's Mrs. Paltrow, by the way, who's playing that actress. Yeah, it's a rough movie. Yeah, Peter Fonda doesn't do it for me either, Loki. I was so distracted by just the beta personality of the main character. Like, it's just so not good. So, I don't know. So, no, yeah, it definitely opens the doors to a lot of like what lands and what concepts could manifest that would have our interest and things like that. It'd be tricky to figure out what the virtual enhancement versus like what Stephen was saying about the 3 dimensions being in our real space and time taken up in our space. That's what makes it so real for us. Yeah. Final thoughts on the movie. Ironcaster, I'll let you go first this week. What's your wrap on this one?
It's a film that has a lot of promise, and it leaves you walking away with a lot of thought to so much of where we've come in terms of technology, both with cinema as well as the groundwork for what's to come down the road, which I do think the TV series was able to much better address and touch on, at the very least with the first season that had come out about a decade ago. Yul Brynner is an absolute delight in this film, and it's a nice, tight little film. You should at least see it once in your life. I'm gonna say a 7.5 out of 10.
Very solid. Yeah, very solid. All right. How about you, Loki, my friend?
I'm gonna give it an 8. I give it an 8 because it's set up. I'd probably agree with Ironcaster with the 7 at the first time I watched it, but I'm gonna give it an 8 for the simple fact that it gave us this revolutionary idea that would go on and carry on. Yes, we had books like, Do You Dream of Electric Sheep, but we also had movies that hadn't been made yet. You've got Terminator, you've got Blade Runner, you've got all these different, movies, and Michael Crichton kind of kicked off this discussion about, well, what happens when they go rogue and try and kill everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's going to get an extra point for that and what it would lead up to in the future for that.
Yeah, it doesn't get the credit it deserves for being as innovative as it is, both obviously literally with some of the visual effects that it actually did try to accomplish, and the incredible work that they did with the robots, and like you said, Ironcaster, all the props and stuff. I thought it was just incredible for thinking this is predating Star Wars. I have to get my head around the fact that I'm like 5. No, this was 73. Sorry. I'm non-existent in the world. I'm like 2. So this is so early on. And then with Future World coming out in 76, because they did Logan's Run in between. The studio bumped Future World. The fact that you have so much of what Michael Crichton had done that contributed to the sci-fi world doesn't get credit. And I'm going to lean towards Loki as well. I watched this movie twice, and the rewatchability did it for me as well. I probably would have been with you, Ironcaster, than that 3 to 4 category, but the rewatchability is so strong with this one. And other than like a little bit of the bar fight stuff, and obviously they're there with the women or whatever, I'm like, I don't care. Let's keep going with the shooting. Let's get on to the Western part. Even when they're out there and the rattles, I'm fine with all that. But it's so. And then once that last 20 minutes or so kicks in, and the gunslinger is stalking him, and then he has to try to figure out a way to survive. It's brilliant. It's fantastic. It's just perfect in every way. So I'm going to go there. So, yeah, great stuff indeed, for sure. So, good stuff. Let's see here. There was a great a Frogman world, underwater demolition team, Disarm Your Minds. Yeah, I mean, there's all of the soldier type stuff I could see, Navy SEAL type stuff. Obviously, everything that Call of Duty has reinvented in a sort of like 2-dimensional world for you, or at least now with some sort of VR technology, some sort of 3 dimensions. You could have something like that in some sort of landscape. I could see that being a big deal for sure.
What about getting to be like the Rocketeer, getting to fly around and have the jetpack and get to pull out the pistols and kind of all that fun stuff? Like, I think that would be another fun way to go with that whole idea. But that's getting more into the hologram holodeck sort of idea.
I would go more. What about like a James Bond experience though? Like a James Bond experience would work because then you would have a series of like levels and bosses. So you could have like a car chase scene, and you could put on a backpack, and you could do this, and you could do that, and yeah. So I think a James Bond thing, literally the only appeal of James Bond is sort of like the male fantasy stuff. I mean, literally that's why I don't understand all this conversation about James Bond because it's like, and Mission Impossible, I guess, is 6 1 half dozen to another, that kind of thing. So
well, but even then, James Bond, you don't have to be super. With James Bond, you don't have to be super fit and super agile to be able to do all the crazy wire work stuff. You could just kind of be you wear a tuxedo, walk around, and like play at the poker table and get to kind of be the suave guy and all the robots that are there that you're supposed to like get the details from. You can get a chance to get into those little witty one-liners as they're programmed to like play their hands poorly.
So he could just sit down and go, Loki, Stone Loki. Pops. Just pops.
Just pops.
It's kind of like Reacher. Just pops. Yeah. Yeah, I could see all that. I'm actually shocked that they didn't really handle the franchise better. And I know the show derails into a mess. And I think the entire pitch of the show was destined to fail right from the get-go because it wasn't really the essence. Kind of like what Jurassic Park just done. It's like they don't get the concepts of the park. They don't get the concepts of this is what makes it interesting because you at home are watching some of this stuff. And what you should do is like, which one would you go to, dear? Which one would you go to, Ironcaster? What would you do? How would you handle this? What would you do in the gunfight? What would you... That's the fun part of it. Jurassic Park's like, what would you do if the dinosaurs got out? How would you survive? When they start taking the park element away, and now it's about AI and its sentience, and it's all this metaphysical, spiritual stuff, and it's other things have done it so much better. You're not going to touch Blade Runner. You're not going to touch Terminator, really. So just, you can't. Don't do it that way. Go back to the theme. So a Westworld Season 2, as I said before, what they should have done was just do a completely different park somewhere. Same with Squid Game. Squid Game Season 2 is a complete bore fest. And I'm like, it's so retarded because they just try to like water down what they did right instead of just do the Squid Game somewhere else. Do it in some other country where they wouldn't get caught and just have other crazy cultural games. Like, why is it not in South Africa or in some other country where they would just play different cultural games and everyone at home was like, holy crap, that's a cool game, whatever. And yeah. And with Westworld, they should just have, when they restarted the park, completely different themes.
Or you have it all happening at the same time in each park. Because you've gotten that first season, you've got them talking about the old park. All they have to do in the other ones is say, bring up the old park. You don't know if they're talking about the old park that they were talking about in the first movie, or if you're talking about Westworld, or if you're talking about Shogun World, or you're talking about wherever they went for whatever season they're doing. You don't know when all this is happening. So it leaves you on that, okay, is this happening at the same time, or has this happened before?
And then you could tie them back together like you're supposed. Remember when Marvel was good? Remember when Marvel was good?
He gets it.
Like, Winter Soldier and stuff crossed over with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and we all sat at home watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. going, oh, this is brilliant. Like Hydra comes out and you're like, so yeah, no. Yeah. I don't know why we're not just producing stuff like on scale because our ideas are way better than the crap these people are putting out.
Because they don't want to listen to fans. They think we're all stupid.
Golly.
We could be printing money in Hollywood right now. We could just print it.
I'm going to be down the rabbit hole again for Batman Beyond, and it just pains me that Robert Pattinson's Batman wasn't just done as Batman Beyond. Like I literally could have just tweaked this in 20 minutes and just made this Batman Beyond, and we all would have just been so much more tolerant with all of his problems. And it would have given you permission to have him not be a good Batman yet. Instead, everyone's so frustrated that he's a crappy Batman. It's like, well, he doesn't know what he's doing, but you didn't set that up right. You just made him like goth emo Batman. You didn't make him like, I don't know what I'm doing yet, Alfred. Help me figure out. You got to get better so I need your help. I don't know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Yeah, what a mess.
All right. I never did like the idea of him as Batman. I thought Robert Pattinson, just based on his looks alone, was much better suited to play Dick Grayson.
Like, he could have been Terry McGinnis, right? He could have been Terry McGinnis.
He's got that leaner build. It would be perfect for either one of those two.
And you bring back you bring back Michael Keaton
Pass the
as Bruce, and Bruce is the one that's the Alfred now, and he's Terry McGinnis. But you still got to fix that third act because he's just a moron, and Batman would have been helping him more than that if he was there. So you've got to fix that third act of, well, I've been a detective, except for knocking on the Penguin Lounge. Hello, it's Bat Tom. Let me in. I need to speak to Penguin.
I don't know what they're going to do. Yeah, I don't want to derail a conversation about the Batman because I have such mixed feelings about it all. So Affleck could have played old Bruce. I suppose they could have, because that would have been within the framework of the universe that they were in. But Keaton was what fans want. So, I couldn't do the time travel stuff, Fred. I was long gone before doing time. I kept hearing about all that, and I was just like, no thanks. So each season is a different park. It could have been, and I think you could have just like continued to stack the pieces of what the timeline really was, but you really have to have clever writers, and we don't have clever writers, right? So we ended up, and after shows don't usually hold up after 3 seasons anyway, or they have to have some sort of major miracle fall in their lap like Stranger Things does, where suddenly it's like significantly better with 4 because they went back and figured out during the pandemic how to fix some of their weaknesses and holes and things like that, and kind of really draw it together tightly. So,
we'll do it by bastardizing Vecna.
Yeah, well,
that's not Vecna.
I can still enjoy it. I know. I've heard the arguments. I get it. I still have a good time with it though. So I'm glad we chose Westworld. It was a shame that poor SQUEEKA wasn't able to be with us. I really wanted her take on another Yul Brynner gem.
Well, this is because she decided to go to Rome World.
You're, yeah. I don't even know what to say, man.
I thought we all agreed to show up at Westworld at 5:00, but apparently not.
She didn't. She went to Shogun World, man. She would be all about. That would be all about for SQUEEKA. She'd be all about some sort of Japanese culture type immersion for sure. That'd be the thing she'd be doing. So, but oh man, it's good stuff. I was trying to pull up our schedule so we can go through what's coming up next. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be some good stuff. I really try to keep balancing the genres and mixing things up so we don't end up down like the total theme rabbit hole too much. But coming up next is Forbidden Kingdom, which I have not seen. So that'll be fun times, right? Jackie Chan, Jet Li, right?
Mm-hmm.
That'll be good.
Monkey King.
Yeah.
It was one of these movies that they had kind of touted as finally a meeting of two of the kung fu legends together in a film for the first time.
Can't imagine how they would screw that up.
Don't spoil it for me. If it's bad, it's bad. I'll experience on my own. For St. Patty's Day, per Ironcaster's request, we squeezed in Boondock Saints. So I've watched it once already. Look, you might have to do a link on that one too. I found it difficult to find the right version on that one because there's like some weird manipulative ones, and I'm like, there's one with like, I don't know, the subtitles or it was dubbed or something. There's a couple scenes that are definitely not right. I'm like, what is going on with this? So
it might be them trying to recreate the director's cut, because there is a director's cut out there on DVD. I know, I've got it. I don't know if it made it on Blu-ray though.
Right. So yeah, that's for sure coming, and that's such a fun movie. And I think that if something happens and SQUEEKA couldn't be with us, we might actually have to flip that one. Because I feel like if we don't have her take on that experience, we'd be selling it short, because that is just some crazy time.
Well,
yeah,
what if we just
come to mama?
The movie's incredible.
Maybe you can get Mike Roach in a wig to do the come to mama thing when from Boondock Saints. Yeah, that'd be
No thanks. Oh no, dear Lord. For Ironcaster show or something, not for me. No, I'm good. I'm good. Moving into March, we also get the anniversary, or do our anniversary acknowledgement. 35 years of Ninja Turtles, man. Ninja Turtles. So
I like turtles.
We haven't had a guest, but it kind of came up, and because I'm doing a show, my Friday podcast will be back in March, and I had Beard of Liberty, so Beard will be our guest. He'll be back, and Beard is a big time turtle guy. Love turtles.
I like turtles.
Turtles. And then we
You're
have
not turtly enough for the turtle club.
Then we have the gem, and I can't wait. Loki and I have been scheming. Dragnet will be here. We'll be doing Dragnet and talk about a quotable movie, insane fun. Oh man,
Dragnet. I'm wearing your underwear.
It's incredible.
This will be first for me.
Then Loki's going to take a week off. He's got stuff going on. Ironcaster's going to have free reign, and he's picked Kung Fury. It's on YouTube already. Kickstarter type project. Shenanigans are afoot for this 30-month, which I think is kind of fun. I think we've done one sort of like fan type film every year, right? And we've done a couple. So this one's good. This will work for this year. And look, I saved you, Loki. I did in the week that you're not going to be there to give you a little bit of a reprieve. So let's see.
That explains the laser raptors.
Don't spoil anything for me. Yeah. I don't know anything about it. I know nothing about it.
Turtle. I like to be a master of disguise.
Then I went ahead and put on the schedule. None of these are lit in laid in stone yet. But the Great Escape, we keep talking about doing Great Escape, so we'll get that in there. iRobot, and then The Accountant will be near the end of April. So yeah,
is that on the list? Is Master of Disguise on the list?
No,
I'm putting it on right now.
Have you ever seen Master of Disguise?
Oh, I love Master of Disguise. I turtle club all the time.
Turtle.
Yes. Dana Carvey. It's just a Dana Carvey skit show.
48 kids went into the water, Chief. Only 5 came back.
He's in
out.
like a rowboat. He's just. Oh, that movie's.
But he does it. He is Quint for that 2-minute
Dana
clip.
Carvey is a master at doing stuff like that. He's so fast and just there's a genius there that it's hard to get your head around. But yeah, great stuff. So tomorrow will be my catch up for the mech show Ironcaster. What else is going on with you, man?
So hanging out with T-shirt here in about an hour or so for our little Tuesday with Geeks, and I think we might be touching a little bit on the KK situation, among other things. We'll see what all happens with that. But Friday night over at 32 Flavors of Nick Weiser for Clobby's Comic Shop Talk, where we delve into the realm of comic books, as we've at the end of the day, no matter what, we still got issues.
Wow. How come I haven't heard that pun enough in the comic book world? That's interesting. All right. Seems like that would have been a more common pun.
I think the comic book guy from The Simpsons sort of became the face of it, and people just generally didn't want to touch it too much.
Good point. It's fair. So,
worst pun ever.
It's pretty bad. Ironcaster has got a nice busy week now. I got to be honest. I'm real happy for him. It's good. Loki, we got a good YouTube talk plan tomorrow?
Oh, yeah. And I actually know what the topic is. How far would you go to be successful on the social media? What would you do? Is everything allowed? Nothing forbidden? What links would you go to be number one? Who would you dick over? What would you do to someone you called friend? Pretty much everything that is like despicable about the thing that we do. We're going to get into tomorrow. So it should be a fun time.
You know what's interesting about those people that have a no holds barred is like what delusion that they have that they could be number one, that they, whatever that looks like. Like I was listening to Mr. Beast talking about like his little post reality show, game show thing he did. And he's so odd and obsessed in his little niche. He thinks in terms of millions and stuff. He doesn't think in terms like us. He just thinks it's completely different world. He taught me that it's okay to just completely change your thumbnail and try again. It's completely okay to like just take your content, modify it, and repost it again. Just change it, try it again. It's okay to like do those. I would never have done that. I've always had this live and let die kind of thing. Once it's out there, it is what it is. Now it's like, well, you know what? That didn't go. And I wonder why that one is so bad or, yeah. So the idea that you're going to compete with these people that are in that world of just completely different, it's just, I don't know. Interesting. It's going to be a fun talk for sure. So it's going to be a fun talk. So, man, you guys in chat, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much for hanging with us. And folks, if you've never seen Westworld, make sure you leave your comments and let us know your thoughts after watching it. Because let me tell you what, this is a fun one for me. Yeah, I think we have to continue to work towards this ultimate, our own version of that book that Ironcaster owns. Then we need our own talk hard version of that book somehow, some way, for sure. But everybody out there,
tome.
It is a meaty tome indeed. We don't need something that comprehensive. We need something a little more. We need like volume 1, volume 2 is how I look at it. Like, yeah. So, but folks, have a great week. Just for your week, be blessed. Get out there, do it yourself, talk hard, and have some fun with things. And until next time, take care, everybody.
Bob Ross, you'll never see me tripping. Got the vision, I don't even need assistance. Bob